Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. So today I wanted to make a little video on why you might actually experience silence on your awakening journey. Now, silence can show up many different times on your awakening journey, and it's not always because you are experiencing the void or the dark night of the soul, as much as those phases are common and we associate silence with those phases on your awakening journey. That's not always the reason why you're experiencing that very unsettling phase where you stop getting those signs, those synchronicities, or that higher guidance that you're so addicted to on the journey to really identify if you are headed the right way. So, this video is going to be dedicated to talking about those different phases of silence that you experience, what those really mean, and how they really show up on your journey. Now, to really get started on this topic, I want to first talk about the dark night of the soul versus the void. Now, the dark night of the soul is actually that initial shift in consciousness that you experience where you begin to take a look at life in a very different way. That lens that you used to use to take a look at your life and your relationships and your place in the world, that's when this really starts to fall apart. You start to take a look at the illusions of the world, the cycles that people are stuck in, and really start to ask those deeper questions about why you are here, what's really going on with you. And that sort of silence is really that inner reflection that you do in terms of looking at your own place in the world, because your old identity that you've really associated with all your life is starting to crumble and fall apart. Now, in terms of the void, which often usually comes after the dark night of the soul phase, really has to do with you experiencing this very hollow sort of emptiness where everything from your world, your interactions with people kind of gets shut out and you feel like it's just you against the whole world. Sometimes you even feel like you're in your own little bubble on earth, but not really being able to connect with anyone or anything. And this period is really meant to really force you to stop looking outside of yourself and really turn inward. It's not until you go through the void where you start to look within rather than lean on the outside for support or look for answers. You start to go and look deeper within your own self. So that is actually the purpose of this phase that you go through. And that's why the silence is so important, because, you've been so used to the chatter of the world that now this emptiness where you are no longer able to connect with anyone forces you to look in a different place, which is by going within. Another reason why you may actually go through silence during your awakening journey is simply for rest and integration. There is so much happening when you go through a spiritual awakening on an energetic level that you just simply need to rest and catch up, because your nervous system needs some time to regulate and process all that it's going through. And you simply need, physically to be able to rest so you can actually make it through this phase. And the silence you experience at this time is really so your system can be recalibrated to accept the new frequencies that you're trying to become accustomed to. And the rest is meant to help you at this time so you can really get through this phase and, give your body that chance it needs to recuperate. So that is another reason you experience the silence, where you're just being asked to slow down, take that, being really living in the present moment is what's happening during this phase. And that will allow you to really take life more slowly and, start to appreciate life day by day rather than trying to take a look at what's really ahead of you 10 years from now, 5 years from now, which might have been your practice or your way of living just before your awakening. So this is really getting you to really slow down and accept that new pace of life that your nervous system is really trying to get you to, away from that fight or flight mode and that survival mode to really just being in that present moment and relaxing and resting. Another reason you experience silence on your journey is when you actually have to confront your shadows and it's time to finally start reflecting on what you've just come across so that you can, really feel this, heal it, and release it out of your system. And, it's part of the identity that starts to crumble. And it's just before you can build your new one. Now, this reflection phase, if you are not aligned with what's happening to you, or if you shy away from looking at your shadows and aren't doing the reflection work that's needed, this phase can really linger, and this silence can show up again and again on your journey if you are not taking the time to really deal with what's coming up for you. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you have the loss of a loved one that has haunted you for years. It has changed the way that you lived your life before your awakening and has created certain patterns in your life that you really need to address. But because you're not willing to take a look at or allow that, the loss that you experienced to come up for you again, you are unable to face those associated patterns and, the shadow work that needs to be done in relation to that loss that you experience. So you may experience silence again and again during your awakening journey, just so you can revisit that particular loss and all the patterns and beliefs associated with that loss that are really impacting who you are today. And in order for you to become the person that you want to become, this is really the work that needs to be done and integrated before you can move on out of this phase into the new. Last but not least, I want to talk about your silence that you experience as a test of integrity. This one usually comes around when you are, looking to step into your purpose, and you are now basically rewriting your terms of the new beliefs you'd like to have, what you want to experience as you move on to this new life after you've gone through your awakening and you want to step into your purpose. Now, the silence that you experience here really has to do with you really living your life under the assumption that you've already acquired and achieved where you would like to be in your new, phase of life and this new career or new purpose that you're trying to build for yourself. So the silence that you really experience is a test of integrity to see if you will keep doing what you want to do and where you see yourself. Now, this can take a little bit of time. However, the silence is really allowing you to take a look at, if I'm not getting any guidance from the outside, where am I really looking to understand if this is where I want to go. The idea here is that if you have, selected something that is really heart-based and heart-focused, you will do whatever it takes to create a new career for yourself in that field, and you will start taking those steps that you need to take to move in that direction. And, as you do that, you are now building a new set of beliefs, understanding that you are no longer dependent on your old identity that you've left behind, and you can be whoever you want to be. But that test of integrity is really from the universe to see if what you want is really what you want. And you must keep going even when the silence is haunting you. There are no external signs. There is no external guidance that's coming along your way, because really you are out to get something that really means a lot to you at a soul level. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this was helpful. God bless.